everybody, this is Green Spirit back today with another video. Today I wanted to talk about adapting others' prayers for your own practice, in particular when it comes in regard to prayer beads. Now prayer beads are, when you think of prayer beads, a lot of people think about Catholicism and their rosary. But prayer beads can be used by any denomination or faith, or you don't necessarily have to do divinity. You can also do to bring forth something into your life or to banish something into your life. But in this particular instance, I'm talking about prayer beads so that you can commune or devote time to your higher power. Years ago, I created a set of goddess prayer beads. These are it. I chose actual stone, so I believe this is an onyx for the black stone, jasper for the red stone, and I have moonstone for the white beads. So I wanted to do a representation of Maiden, Mother, and Crone, and then I chose I can't remember what this flat round bead is made out of. And then I have little spacers in between each of the beads, and those are sterling silver. So when you create your own prayer beads, you can just create it like myself, something very simple, just one major bead, and then I did 13 of the stone beads for the 13 moons of the year, and then so that's what I did. But you don't necessarily have to do it that way. You can make a traditional set of prayer beads more towards like the Catholicism side, where it has, you know, your main, you can do it like a charm of a goddess or a moon, and then it has 3 beads up, and then it has all the beads around like a traditional rosary. But this is what I chose. When I created these beads, I wanted to go ahead and have active contemplation time with the goddess, and this is why I created them. When I was a child, I grew up Catholic, and you learned the rosary. Now, most kids, when they're little, they don't necessarily want to be going through a whole rosary. And, you know, primarily they do it in church. But I was so connected to the goddess at that point, even when I was a child, that without anybody knowing, without my family asking me to, at night before I would go to bed, I would do a rosary. And I really liked the rosary because it's the first thing that I really saw with Mary, and Mary associated with a goddess. And usually you would primarily just see, you know, things for Jesus or, you know, the Holy Spirit, but you wouldn't see anything about Mary except the rosary. So I felt a real connection to her by doing this rosary every night when I was a child. Fast forward, like I said, I created my prayer beads thinking, you know, I want to recapture that feeling that I would get when I was a child. And so I decided to create these prayer beads. Well, I looked online for several different kinds of prayer beads, and then of course their accompanying prayers. And I have tried several prayers throughout the years that I found online. I've tried writing my own, and although I can write prayers, I have pages and pages of prayers that I've written, or poems, because I like that kind of thing. Nothing really sang true or called out to me. So my beads were kind of put to the side. I would occasionally try a different prayer, and nothing quite called to me when I would say them word for word as other people had written them, or when I tried to write them even myself. They just didn't give me that hitch in my heart, you know, that said what I wanted to say. Well, recently, in the last few months, I decided I really want to take up this practice of saying my prayer beads every day as part of my contemplation or devotional time to the goddess. So I decided to go ahead and try again. So as I'm looking online, I come across this prayer. It is by Patty Wigginton. You might recognize her, although I know she's a published author, but you might recognize her by her series on about.com on Wicca and paganism. I come across her prayer and I loved it. I thought it was great. However, it's really long and I didn't think that it fit well with the prayer beads as a full thing. So what I decided to do is adapt her prayer to fit my needs. So first of all, I want to encourage you to be able to do that. A lot of times I think you feel like you have to do things exactly as it's written by somebody else, that you have to say the words in just that right way, that you have to have just the right ingredient if you're doing the magical working. You have the ability to adapt to what feels true to you. Do not let anybody tell you that you have to say or do something in a particular way. If it does not ring true for you, then don't do it. Find something that does. Adapt it, change it, mold it, add to it, minus from it. Whatever you need to make it seem true for you. And that is what I did. So I wanted to take the time to kind of show you what I did myself and to encourage you to go ahead and do this if you feel called. If something calls to you and you love how it sounds, but it doesn't quite meet your needs, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to change it, to adapt it to your needs. And that's the point of this video, along with the prayer beads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you her prayer, and then I'm going to then read to you my adaptation of her prayer to fit my prayer beads. And now this is something that I love, that I'm comfortable with, that truly inspires me in my heart, and now it rings true for me. So here it is. Her prayer goes: Gracious Goddess, Lady of Life, whose garment is the shining heavens, you are the white moon amongst the stars and the beauty of the green earth. You are the oneness of all things and the completion of spirit. You are the mystery of that which we seek. If we find not within, we will never find it without. For you have been here since the beginning, and you are that which is attained at the end of desired. Blessed be. Now that's from the charge of the goddess. I think most of you would know that. But then she adds, Maiden of freedom, you are the eternal virgin, the holy bride of nature, and the revealing light within the shadows. Through you, all that is good comes to birth. Mother of compassion, forever fertile, Lady of the forge, you are the creating force of love and the strength which nourishes all that lives. Through you, the cause of life is served. Crone of Wisdom, Ancient One, Keeper of the Cauldron, you stand at the gates between the worlds and carry the shining sickle of death. Without you nothing can be transformed. O holy and blessed Lady, perpetual comfort of humankind and all other creatures, who by your bounty and grace sustains the whole world, you bear great compassion to the troubles of the miserable, as a loving mother would. You are the natural mother of all things, mistress and governess of all the elements, first of the gods celestial, light of the goddesses, by the power and will of she that is three, blessed be. Great goddess, Lady of life, three that are one, you are everything to me, the earth under my feet, the air that I breathe, the water that purifies me, the fire that illuminates my path. Gracious goddess, I look within and I see your light shining. Blessed be. That is a gorgeous prayer. It is beautiful, it's concise, it says exactly what I feel to be true. Now here is my adaptation of her prayer for my prayer beads. So I started, and I'm not gonna say all of these, I'm just gonna say like the three main ones in the moon bead, because I don't want to do a full prayer of this of these prayer beads. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. Okay, so on the moon bead I say, Great Goddess, Lady of Life, whose garment is the shining heavens, you are the moon amongst the stars and the beauty of the green earth. You are the mystery, that if that which you seek we find not within, we will never find it without, for you have been since the beginning, and you are that which is attained at the end of desire. Again, an adaptation from the Charge of the Goddess. Then moving on to the white beads, or no, excuse me, we go through to the silver spacer bead, and then it says, Goddess, as I look within, I see your light shining. Then I move on to the white beads. I have it written down because I haven't memorized it yet since I wrote this recently, or adapted it recently. It says, Maiden of freedom, forever young, holy bride, you are all beginnings, the revealing light within the shadow. Through you all that is good comes to birth. Then I move on to the red bead. And this one I said word for word because I feel like it did ring true for me. But it says, Mother of compassion, forever fertile, Lady of the forge, you are the creating force of love and the strength which nourishes all that lives. Through you the cause of life is served. And then in between again, the spacers is, Goddess, as I look within, I see your light shining. Okay. And then on the black crone bead, this is my adaptation. It says, Crone of Wisdom, ancient one, keeper of the cauldron, you have seen everything, endured everything, and given everything. You are death, without which nothing could be transformed. Through you, understanding is attained. Okay. And then I go back to the moon bead, and I say, by the power and will of she that is, so mote it be, blessed be. So as you can see, I've taken from someone else, someone that I admire, her prayer is beautiful, but I adapted it to my needs. And now I have a very beautiful and concise prayer that I can do on these beads every day, and I feel that they ring true for me. So again, don't be afraid to modify things as you need to. Don't be afraid that you're doing it wrong. There is no wrong way. You have to do what rings true for you. So that's my video for today. If you like this video, please subscribe. And thank you for watching. You have a wonderful day. Blessed be.